Welcome in, everyone. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and this 2023 season has been a remarkable one across the NFL for many teams. We've been treated to some incredible and even record breaking performances from several individuals and teams. But while games like the 70-point performance from Miami and the awesome rookie season of CJ Stroud are noteworthy, and as I said, even record breaking, in several regards, the performance all year long put forth by this Ravens defensive unit has outshone all others. This defense, while breaking a few records of its own, including being the first defense in the NFL's long history to simultaneously have the most sacks, force the most turnovers, and allow the fewest points, has been extremely consistent on all three levels and has seen not only its leaders but its depth players step up and excel when it came time for them to make a play. For this video, we're going to take a look at the different position groups on this amazing 2023 defense and not only see where did they do well, but also how they responded to adversity and why they will ultimately go down as one of the best for a franchise known for its defense. Let's get to it.
They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
So it's hard to know where to start when talking about a dominant defense, but one area in particular that has been a mainstay this entire season has been their ability to stop teams from scoring. We know that by the end of the regular season, they were allowing on average 16.4 points per game, having given up only 280 points through 17 games, and this led the league. But trying to really grasp what that looks like can be a bit of a challenge. So let's take a look at what it looks like by grouping some of these performances together to get a more understandable picture. So what I have for you here are all the teams that we played and how many points they scored against our defense this year. I know it's a bit simplistic, but my point is to illustrate that just how hard it was to score on this defense all season. The teams that are underlined are the losses they had, and the teams with asterisks are teams that led their division or were division leaders at the time that we faced them. Laying it out like this I thought was interesting because not only can you see that when the Ravens allowed 20 points or less to their opponents, they were 10-2, but you can also see that when our defense only allowed 5 teams to score over 20 points, and in those games we were still 3-2. While it isn't possible to directly link the success of the defense to any one position group, we're going to try to dissect why and how each group was successful this season. So let's do this in order, starting with the defensive line. Matabike, Pierce, Jones, Washington, and Urban specifically, who, along with the outside linebackers, which we'll get to in just a bit here, the defensive line was one of the team's best units week in and week out and seemed to show up in big moments when they were needed to either get a stop to get off the field or a sack to push a team out of field goal range. Justin Matabike led the charge, of course, by leading the league in his position in sacks with 13, after having a combined 8.5 through the first 3 years of his career. Now, I anticipated a jump in his performance as we anticipated an increased snap count when Calais left, but I don't think anybody thought that he would explode the way he did this year. The other 4 on the line, while not at Matabike's level, did also add a combined 7.5 sacks, as well as bringing the total of the group to 20.5. Just for context, the 2022 defensive line accounted for 14 total sacks. Not only did this offensive line provide sacks and pressure, they were also very sure tacklers, with 174 total tackles on the season and missing only 10. 6 of those were credited to Travis Jones, who has had more playing time in his second year. Now let's go over the outside linebacker group, who many had pegged as their biggest area of concern for this team heading into the season. We had Clowney, Van Noy, Owe, Robinson, and a small sample size from Ajabo. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I had as much faith in this group at the start of the season as I did in the D-line, but I was more pumped for the Clowney signing than many others that I saw online. Altogether, they became the biggest pleasant surprise for me this season. As far as stats, they combined for 25.5 sacks, 9 pass deflections, 7 forced fumbles, 128 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 42 quarterback hits, and 54 pressures. Again, for comparison's sake, we can stack that up against last year's outside linebacker group of Owe, Jason Pierre-Paul, Justin Houston, and Bowser, who had 17.5 sacks, 8 passes deflected, 3 forced fumbles, 103 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 35 QB hits, and 51 pressures. Now, while last year ended with our starting inside linebackers being Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, we didn't start with half of that duo. This year, they had a full preseason and season together, showing the rest of the league how the best linebacker duo in 2023 got things done. And while Delshon Phillips, Malik Harrison, and Trenton Simpson played some snaps, my focus is going to be on Rowe and PQ, as they played the most snaps and contributed the most by far. I've already spoken at length earlier in the season about why these two are the heart and soul of this defense, and it's not only because Roquan is the leader and Queen is a weapon. These two work in tandem so well that you would think they were drafted together. They have the same violent style, the same unyielding tenacity, and play with an unmatched level of intensity when on the field. Their energy and intensity magnifies through each other. When one makes a big play, the other one is usually the first one there, yelling and screaming in the other one's face, amping them up. I won't say Roquan is the next Ray Lewis because they're different people. They play in different eras. It's not even really relatable in my opinion, but I do see the same level of energy and determination to be better every day from Roquan and from Queen. I hope every Ravens fan cherishes the play of these two this year because while I can hope that we retain Queen next year, my rational brain won't allow me to believe it. So, moving straight behind these two, we get to our three stud safeties: Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, and Geno Stone. These three guys have been so fun and exciting to watch this season because of the mobility and versatility that they provide and created within Mike McDonald's scheme. I still love the signing of Marcus Williams and the determination he's shown to continue to play with this season, even though the injuries he's had makes him, in my eyes, beyond reproach. He has proved me slightly wrong when I said he should be sat for Geno in the middle of the season. He was definitely not the top performer in this group, but having the stats he does, given what he has gone through physically this season, is extremely impressive. I mean, the guy caught an interception with one working arm against the 49ers. Geno, on the other hand, as I stated in my Next Man Up video, is probably the Raven that has developed the most this season in my eyes, allowing a 63.6% completion percentage, which is on par with Brandon Stevens, and a 63.8 passer rating when quarterbacks targeted him, which is lower than Marlon Humphrey. And it's not like I'm just picking on this and he wasn't targeted at all and I'm picking a random stat. He was targeted 44 times and Marlon was targeted 45. But now let's talk about Kyle Hamilton, who has now become the biggest difference maker in the secondary on this team. And with Kyle, when I say secondary, of course, what I really mean is everywhere on the field. The level of play that Kyle has reached this year is not only seen by his Pro Bowl and All Pro status, but it's also reflected in the stats from year 1 to year 2. So let's see what those differences look like. I said months ago that Kyle Hamilton was the Swiss Army knife of this defense, capable of playing anywhere and lining up across from anyone. I know this may not be as much of a hot take at this point in the season after games like Jacksonville and San Francisco, but I think Kyle Hamilton has been the MVP of this 2023 Ravens defense. And finally, moving outwards, we get to the cornerbacks. And this has been a very interesting and surprising year for this group for a number of reasons. If your biggest concern for this team heading into the preseason wasn't the pass rush, it was the cornerback room. With Marcus Peters not returning and no starting caliber rookie selected in this year's draft, it was a real question mark who they would rely on beyond Marlon Humphrey. And then Humphrey went down to start the season. These three roster moves saved the Ravens' season, in my opinion. The signing of Ronald Darby, the signing of Arthur Millette, and moving Brandon Stevens to cornerback full-time. The Baltimore Ravens, a team who stopped the run and made you beat them through the air, were 6th in passing yards allowed, 2nd in passing touchdowns allowed, 3rd in interceptions, and 1st in net yards allowed, all while being the team with the second highest amount of passes thrown against them. So basically, the Ravens cornerback room said, go ahead and try it. Now, Marlon Humphrey is my favorite Raven, and when he is healthy, he is the best corner on this team. But he wasn't healthy for a good portion of the season, and without the combined play of Stevens, Darby, and Millette, I genuinely think we lose several more games this season. Of the four I've mentioned, none of them allowed above 63% completion percentage, or above a passer rating of 81. They allowed a combined 4 touchdowns while grabbing 4 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries. They deflected 28 passes, had 165 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and Millette had 2 sacks. This group was unbelievable, given the loss of talent and injury concerns throughout the previous offseason and into the season. I think the level of play from these 4 corners is what has defined the defense this season. So that's my review of the 2023 Ravens defense. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite moment or play from the defense was this year. For me, it was Kyle Hamilton's pick 6 of Watson at the beginning of the second Browns game. I know the game didn't end the way we wanted to, but that play was just amazing and got me fired up for the start of the game. I think watching this defense has been almost as fun as watching the offense this year, with how they dominate teams and basically make opponents' game plans irrelevant most of the time. I believe that just like with the Ravens 2000 team, we're going to look back on this 2023 defense and talk about it with the same level of respect and admiration. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like it and subscribe for more. As always, guys, stay safe out there and go Ravens.